I'm back. This process is going to allow you to completely transform your life. If you're sick and tired of manifesting the same old pattern over and over and over again, it's very likely that this is what's holding you back. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly what you need to do to break free from that pattern once and for all. Imagine it's like a doorway. You're on one side of the door and the life that you want is on the other side of the door. I'm giving you the key to that door today. And if you're willing to take the key, put it in the door and open it, if you're willing to actually implement what I'm going to share with you in this video, you're going to be able to access the quality of life that you desire. When I work with clients one-to-one, my favorite thing to do is listen. All the answers that I need so that I can help someone are usually given to me through the language that this person is using. If I can help a person to feel comfortable enough to just speak their mind, to put words to whatever thoughts are going round and round in their head about why they feel stuck, what they're frustrated with, what problems they seem to have in their life, very quickly I can identify what their beliefs are. And it always comes down to our beliefs. If we have a belief that's holding us back in life, we're not going to change our life. Your beliefs and thoughts about yourself and your beliefs and thoughts about your life determine how you interact with this 3D reality. If you think that life is unfair, that the world is against you, that the universe is constantly punishing you, then you will continue to notice, attract, and create things that agree with that belief system. Also, if you have beliefs about yourself, that you're no good, that you're not worthy, that no one would love you, that nothing good could ever happen for someone like you, then again, those beliefs will lead to thoughts, and those thoughts will lead to actions that perpetuate that story. On the flip side, if we were to change both of these things, if we were to change the way that we see the world around us, if we were to have beliefs that actually life can be good for you, that the universe is always actually conspiring on your behalf and has your back, how do you think that's going to change the way that you think and feel? Is that going to help you to feel calmer? Is that going to help you to trust the process more? Is that going to help your reticular activating system to actually start noticing things and people and opportunities that are going to lead you to your desires? 100% yes. And when you marry that up with beliefs about yourself that are empowering, if you start to believe that you are a valuable and worthy person, if you start day by day to teach your brain to believe that you are lovable. And the fastest way to do that is to start treating yourself with love so that you're showing your brain so much evidence that you are a lovable person. When you start to tell yourself that you are a good person, of course good things happen for you. You're that kind of person. A lucky star is always shining down on you at all times. When you start to positively shift the way that you see yourself, you're going to be kind enough to yourself to let yourself have the things that you want. Now, another thing that I hear people say is, it's really hard for me to blah, blah, blah. I find it really hard to. I can never do. And these are people who practice affirmations. These are people who are open to manifestation. These are people who are working on their mindset. And yet still, as human beings, myself included, we can still sometimes have beliefs like that. We might not notice that we even have these beliefs because we've believed it for so long. Maybe we even inherited this belief and we think that it is real because it's all we've ever known and it's all we've ever believed. Sometimes it takes somebody else observing you, listening to the words that you're using to spot it. And now don't get me wrong, I'm not being the toxic positivity police here. I always support my clients to remember that they are allowed to feel all emotions. In fact, it's important for them to release any pain, any trauma, any sadness from their body so that they don't suppress it and continue to live with it manifesting in their physical body. I'm not going to tell you off for saying I can't or it's hard, but when you hear yourself say those things, it might give you a clue. When you catch yourself thinking a thought like that on autopilot, this is a great indicator of where the block actually is. So there are two common reasons why we say it's hard for me to, or I can't do it because. Number one, we might not believe that we have the skills, or we might not believe that we are good enough or clever enough to acquire the skills to be able to do a thing that we want to do. Or we fear doing it, and therefore we say we can't so that we don't even have to look there. I'll give you an example. If somebody says, I find it really hard to post content on social media, the reason why they're saying I can't might be that they fear that they don't have the skills and the experience, and they're not yet a master at creating content on social media, or they fear being seen, they fear public judgment, they fear seeing themselves on camera, and so to avoid those scary things, they just say, I find it really hard. If you have a belief that you find it really hard to make more money or to save money, maybe it's because you lack the skill of selling or saving or managing your money when it comes in, or you have a fear of money itself. You have a fear of becoming a wealthier person. There might be a lot of fears attached to becoming someone who has more money because it's new to you, you've never experienced it before, and you've heard that those rich people are bad people. If you say things like, it's really hard for me to find a good man, I'm finding it really hard to find a boyfriend, a husband, it's really hard for me to be in a relationship with someone. It could be hard for two reasons. Maybe you don't have the skills, and I know you might think, skills to be in a relationship? Yeah, how to communicate, how to understand yourself and have a strong relationship with yourself so that you can have a harmonious, not emotionally dependent and manipulative relationship with someone. You can read books, you can learn about the power of communication, you can learn about what healthy relationships look like, because if you grew up not seeing what a healthy, communicative, trusting relationship looks like, then it's understandable if you don't have the skills or the know-how to have a beautiful, solid, harmonious, loving, trusting relationship. So maybe you have some skills that need to be learned, or you have a fear of actually being in a loving, intimate relationship. So take a look at any of the things that you feel are really hard for you, and instead of just saying, oh, it's really hard, and then kind of dismissing it and then creating more of the same pattern because you're burying your head in the sand about it, instead take a deep breath. Nothing bad's gonna happen. You're completely safe. It is completely safe for you to address this situation head on instead of avoiding it for any longer. So look at it. Are there some skills that you lack around this area of your life that if you learned the skills, you would be able to confidently dominate and succeed at this area of life? And are there any fears that you have around having that exact thing that you say that you want? Okay, so you've asked yourself those questions. Next, what do you do with this new insight? Now it's time to ask yourself, the universe, your subconscious mind, a simple question. You can quite simply ask yourself the question, what can I do to make it easier for myself to blah? How can I make it easy for myself to blah, blah, blah? Because if you have been perpetuating a story of it's really hard for me to, whether it's because you lack the skills or you fear the actual thing manifesting into your life, flip hard to easy. How can I make it easy for myself to be better at saving money? How can I make it easier for myself to make money? How can I make it easier for myself to feel comfortable in relationships? How can I make it easier for myself to show up on social media every day? You see, if there's things that you find hard and yet you see other people doing it and it seems relatively easy for them, it's not necessarily because they're some kind of superhuman. Most likely it's because they approach that thing in a way that is easier than the way you have been approaching it. And so when you ask your brain, when you ask the universe that question, how can I make it easier for myself too? Your brain will start to look for solutions, look for answers to that very question. Growing up, I had a lot of beliefs that it had to be hard to be worthwhile, that these certain levels of life that I wanted must be really, really, really hard. And that actually built up more of a separation between myself and that thing. And the more that I thought that it was difficult, the more I put my goal onto a pedestal and I put myself lower down as well. Whereas actually, I've noticed, having worked with many mentors, having seen how incredibly successful people operate and live and think, it's not that often they do have skills that they have put time and energy and effort into becoming masters of a craft. But in addition to that, they always look for the path of least resistance. They look at, how can I make this easy for myself? How can I streamline this? How can I make it less complicated? That is a huge part of manifestation. When I went to India for 30 days, I had the privilege to interview a Himalayan yogi, a spiritual master, and I asked him, what are the key traits of someone who is fantastic at manifestation? And he said that one of the key traits of a person who's fantastic at manifesting is that they are uncomplicated. They don't complicate things unnecessarily. Because let's face it, there are some things in this world that are pretty complex. We don't need to make anything even more complicated than it needs to be. If we have a fear of something, if we are holding ourselves back from it, the chances are we've actually been making it harder for ourselves than we even need to. So often the thing that we want isn't that far away, but we have just been making it feel far away because we haven't been facing it head on. What if what you wanted was just a few small skills away? And what if by gaining those skills, it helps to build the confidence in you that you can actually be it and do it and have it? And if you have a fear of having the very thing that you want, you can ask yourself, how can I make it feel safe for me to be in a loving relationship? How can I make it safe for me to have lots of money? And by asking yourself simple questions like that, your brain will always come up with practical ways to make it feel less unsafe for you. Remember that when we continue to overthink and not take any action, the fear grows. But as soon as we just face it head on and take a step forwards, the fear melts away. And if you're interested in having a call with me one-to-one, I would love to support you and listen to you and help you identify what's been holding you back so that you can break free from it once and for all. The link is down below in the description. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring my bell so that you never miss another video. Until next time, bye.